All right, everybody, it's Terrell Cummings. This is episode 2 of season 2 of the Always Relevant podcast. We have Dane and I on the line. Dane, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Good to be back again. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Had a good time last week. I think people seem to enjoy what we had to say. You know, we're just out here acting the fool, but that's all right. So
we got the college edition this week. We always like that.
We do that. We do the college edition, and it should be interesting. I'm interested to see what you have to say about it. So I guess we'll start off the show like we always do, man. We're going to start off with the segment, How Are You and How Are You Really? So I'm going to kick it off. How am I? I'm doing okay. You're probably hearing me say it every week. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. But how am I really? I really am feeling that way. Last week I was more tired. This weekend I was able to get some sleep. That helped. Able to get some work done, so that also helped as well. So a little bit less stressed than normal. But overall, I have no complaints. I'm good. I'm just hanging out. I'm drinking a Sprite right now. Probably should have another beverage with me, but it's okay. It's a Monday. So, no, we're doing all right. But, yeah, Dane, back to you, man. How are you? How are you really?
Well, how am I? I'm good. Even though the Indians are definitely out of it. I know we'll touch on that later, but it was nice to see them in the Little League World Series last night, playing in Williamsport, PA, you know, about 2 hours from me, and taking down the Angels 3 straight games. The only thing I'd like to do is call out ESPN for not recognizing the great effort of the Indians and just talking about an Angels team that's going nowhere fast. And but other than that, I'm very happy with the way the Indians played. Those uniforms were fire. I don't know if you've seen those uniforms, the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
The Ohio on the hat. Yeah, it was good. So good for the Indians, man. I love the way they played. Nice shot by Rosario. Big time plays. How am I really? A lot of anxiety, man. It's 2 weeks till the NFL season starts. And you know me as a Browns fan, man. It's just, you just think every year you think it's going to be the year, and then stupid stuff happens. So this year, you know, they're saying they got the most talented team, but the anxiety runs high. So you know what I decided to do?
What's that?
So my girlfriend told me about this goat yoga thing going on in 2 weeks on September 5th. And I told her, you got one more Sunday with me till football season starts. So, you know, what we're going to do, you know, I need to relax. You know what I mean? Because it's about to get serious. Chiefs, 425 national television. Usually doesn't pan out too well for Cleveland fans, although we all think this year is going to be different. So we're going to go down to this place and we're going to yoga with the goats to lower my anxiety for the season and relax a little bit.
Goat yoga. So first of all, have you even ever done yoga in your life?
No, never done yoga once in my life.
So do you consider yourself, you know, flexible, stretchable, pliable, anything like that?
No, not at all. No, okay. I don't even like that. It's hard to get off the chair. So it'll be interesting to I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I'm guessing it'll be in an outdoor environment.
Yeah, it's at some farm. I guess it's good for stress. It's good for anxiety. And like I said, I'm feeling it. I'm going to the beach this weekend for a couple of days, Dewey Beach, Delaware, hanging out, doing the beach thing here last weekend, for the summer, then doing the goat thing, trying to get ready for that first weekend of real football.
I mean, I've heard of goat yoga. You know what I mean? I just I've never actually seen it in practice. So that'll be interesting. You should definitely have video of that because I want to see first of all doing yoga.
Yes, I think I'm going to go down there to the goats. I'm going to dress in my new Browns 75th anniversary jersey.
Oh, you're going to wear the new jersey down there?
Yeah, I'm going to wear the new jersey and bless it with some good juju, some good goat juju, yoga goat, relaxation, and get ready for the season because, like I said, I'm still a Browns fan. Always going to be skeptical till they prove me otherwise.
I mean, I guess Browns fans will go through whatever it takes to try to win the Super Bowl as the Browns.
Well, so, you know me, I don't like going outside. And I always told you my idea of camping is actually the Hilton. That's about the only camping I like to do. So going to a farm, right? I'm pulling out all stops for a good season this year.
You're going to the farm, you're roughing it, and you're doing goat yoga. Oxymoron. I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to see it after September 5th. That's going to be super interesting.
September 5th weekend, last Sunday before real football starts.
Oh, that's great. All right. Yep. No, that's cool. I can't wait to hear about that for sure. Dane doing goat yoga. I can only imagine me holding around a goat like your little dog that you have there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So
So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it helps me relax.
I got you. I got you. All right. Well, hey, I can't wait to hear about it. It's going to be awesome to hear about it and see pictures from it. We have a lot to talk about today. Lee's adult beverage of the week. We actually talked to Lee about that. He's going to start getting us some of those starting next episode. So we look forward to that. We want to keep everybody happy and hydrated. And now that summer's winding down and we're starting the fall, getting into the football season, and there's lots of great beverages that go well with some good tailgating for football and whatever sport you want to watch. So we look forward to that. That's coming soon. And we just want to get into the first segment. We're just talking about just overall the college football landscape and specifically Michigan and Ohio State. I know you have your
baby.
thoughts. Dane's repping Ohio State. I'm not repping Michigan right now, but anybody knows me knows I'm a diehard Michigan fan to the core. And yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts. I guess we'll start with Ohio State because that's the obvious.
Well, I'd say God bless you for being a Michigan fan, but because you're a Michigan fan, I don't want anybody blessing you. But so we have approximately 95 days, 7 hours, 16 minutes, and 40 seconds till the game. Got that running on my laptop here. To see, just getting excited for that one. Although here's the thing, the GOAT yoga has nothing to do with Ohio State because I'm in complete relaxation about Ohio State Michigan game. Don't need no GOAT yoga for that one. So tell me this year. I'm going to let you talk on this segment because there's no reason for me to say anything. Tell me why Michigan is going to actually, I'll even say, not even say when. How are they going to be competitive this year? And I give you the floor.
That's going to be tough because Michigan, they're not over the past decade or almost two. They really haven't given me a lot of reasons to feel like, yes, this is what they can do. I think there have been a couple years that have gone by where I think Michigan should have been more competitive than what they were. They've been lacking at the quarterback position. Don't understand Shea Patterson from before. I didn't understand Joe Milton last year. Yes, Joe Milton was tall and he has a cannon for an arm, but if you watch him play, anybody plays ball could tell he can't read defenses. He has to only look at one side of the field, and he has no touch when he throws the ball. He can only throw it 95 miles an hour on a line. He has a problem throwing the deep ball, has no touch on it. He's going to overthrow his receivers all the time, and he just doesn't have it. He has a great arm. I'll give him that, and he's great size, like 6'5", 6'6", 240-some pounds, runs like a 4.5 40. He has all of that, but can't harness that anything. That's a problem. And so, like, if they would have the kid, the Cade McNamara that came in probably halfway through the season last year, if they had him starting at the beginning of the year, their record, I fully believe that the record would have been better than what it was just by having him in the ball game. I think that he was a complete difference maker. Second of all, their defense, I think the defense could have been okay. They're playing a lot of young DBs, which a lot of teams do that, but they're also putting them out on islands still. I don't know why they kept doing that to them. Because let's face it, right now, their defensive backs, they're athletic, but they're not like Ohio State athletic as of right now. And so, like, I think the coaches have to do something to help put their young players in better positions to potentially be successful. Don't know what that is. It's just, but to me, it's not putting them out there in island man coverage for them to potentially be exposed on a regular basis, especially when teams before that had already exposed them. So, if you knew receivers from other teams before that already exposed them, the Ohio State receivers are going to get them even worse. So I don't know. It's a rivalry game, so you never really know.
I know.
Oh yeah. Everybody else knows.
I know.
The polls that we took polls on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Twitter was 100% that there's no chance that Michigan would even potentially upset Ohio State. On Facebook, it was also unanimous that it was 100% that there's no way that that Michigan had a chance against Ohio State. On Instagram, it was about 25% of the vote said that they had a chance. And so they have to do, I think, in order to do that, Harbaugh's going to have to go old school. You're not going to try to outscore Ohio State. He needs to, and I don't know if he can do this. They have a lot of offensive linemen in the NFL, but they need to control the ball. They may not just sit there and pound it down the field and throw it through your tight end, but they need to keep Ohio State's offense off the field. They need to keep momentum to a minimum and control the ball, run the ball, short pass plays down the field, and keep their offense off the field. Don't let them score quick, and you got to slow the game down. Harbaugh did that at Stanford. That's what he went for. They ran 2 tight end set. I'm not saying run 2 tight end set at Michigan because their offensive linemen, to me, hadn't been good enough to do that. At least not when they're at Michigan. Now, when they go to pros, different story. For some reason, they flourish into great players. So part of that to me is coaching. But like I said, that's a whole lot of other conversations to be had. So,
yeah. So, I agree with you. I think Ohio State showed some weakness in run defense. Teams have definitely been able to run the ball on them. I think Alabama showed that a little bit. Even Clemson to a certain extent. But it's a matter of talent. It's a matter of speed.
right.
Michigan's just got to improve its recruiting, plain and simple. I don't think Harbaugh's a bad coach. I don't even think he's a bad motivator. I think he does wear on teams, and that's why he didn't last in the NFL. He's one of them quick turnaround, rah-rah guys that can get things turned around quick, but I think he wears on you, and
Right.
he may be wearing his welcome out in Michigan. Now, it's different dealing with college kids, especially when you're rotating people in and out every year, right? But I just think, and we've talked about this, if they did get rid of Harbaugh, what direction did it go? We'll talk about that another time, but I think that's one of the things saving his job is where do you go from there, right? If he can't do it, who's going to do it, right?
No, yeah, and I agree 100%. There's not like a young coach coming up the ranks, and I've seen those like, man, I want them to go to Michigan. Maybe Iowa State's coach, I can't remember his name right now. I do like
Hugh
him.
Freeze, baby. Hugh Freeze from Liberty. That's who you need.
Michigan's not going to hire a coach that has that kind of potential drama that's still sitting out there.
How bad do you want to win? I'll leave it at that.
That's like me saying to bring up
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. I mean, he's been successful wherever he's gone, but he's also rubbed everybody the wrong way wherever he's been to. So not doing that, not bringing Les Miles. Don't know what they're going to do about it yet, but one thing I think Michigan's starting to fall into is the same trap that Notre Dame fell into, in the early to mid 2000s, where it's like, kids are just going to come here because it's Notre Dame. Everybody loves Notre Dame. The aura of Notre Dame, like it's just not there like it used to. Kids, first of all, they don't want to necessarily be in the cold all the time unless they grew up there. So a lot of times us in the Midwest, we're used to it being cold, But they're trying to recruit all these Florida kids and these Texas kids. They don't want that.
But I'm going to tell you why this is changing here in a little bit when we get to our segment on paying college athletes getting paid. The game is going to change. Let me tell you.
That's probably true. But one thing that Michigan definitely needs to do, that where everything has turned since early 2000s when Tressel got there, is he took over and he recruited Ohio. And where Michigan was coming in, dipping and getting players from Cleveland and Columbus or whatever, they're not able to do that as much as what they used to.
They're not even able to keep they're not even able to keep their best players.
Yeah.
Isn't McMaster's from Michigan?
I think
Wasn't he from Michigan?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to have to keep their best players. And I'll tell you what, here's one thing of why you don't go to Michigan right now. Real quick, Donovan Peoples-Jones, right? Who was it? Said best guy he ever seen in high school football. Or Urban Meyer down there in Jacksonville said last second he decided to stay home in Michigan. He fell to the 6th round to the Browns, right? You're telling me if a dude that talented went to Ohio State where they're putting up them kind of numbers and they can throw the ball and he can show off his athleticism, going to Michigan costs that boy money, lots of money. And that's what I would be selling recruits right now too, because there's no way Donovan Peoples-Jones that talent should have been a 6th round pick. But when you play for a team that doesn't score points, you fall in the 6th round and you don't get paid.
Thing is, I believe they could have scored points, but they made the wrong picks at quarterback completely. And I'm an armchair coach, and I can see that. It's not hard to see. Like we see McCaffrey go on the field when he was still there, that he was being more special than Shea Patterson. Shea Patterson can't even make like normal throws. Like he could be an average college quarterback. That's it. Like he has to have big windows to throw the ball into. He's not going to throw anybody open. Like I said, he's athletic enough to do something with his legs, but nothing special, nothing spectacular. Nothing's going to help Donovan Peoples-Jones in his draft stock. They had Donovan Peoples-Jones, they had Tariq Black, and they had I forget the guy's name right off the top of my head. He sat out last season. They had 3 top-tier receivers. and guarantee two of them are in the NFL right now. And obviously, see Donovan People-Jones, he's making plays. Like, they're quality players, and there's no reason they should have.
But if he could have showed off the kind of talent he is during his college career, like he could have at a team like Ohio State, that boy doesn't come even close to last in the 6th round.
That's so, I agree with this. Probably true.
So we got to move on. I know we got to move on. So we got 95 days, 7 hours, 7 minutes, 30 seconds till the game. We'll be talking more about it until we get there.
I'm praying. I'll have some arguments as they come up. You go and tell your Ohio State. All my friends in Ohio where I live keep telling Ohio State. I'll keep telling Michigan. Don't worry about it. It'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. It's a rivalry. They'll play hard. We'll see what's good. And hopefully the smarter quarterback play will help them out a little bit. A little more experience under the belt. So I'm excited to see what happens this year.
See, no COVID this year. Teams are getting to practice, so we'll see.
That's what they say. We'll see what's good. Up next, we're talking about Texas and Oklahoma. They're leaving the Big 12. They said peace, and they're going to the SEC. I don't know if that's good for Texas, because Texas was barely winning in the Big 12. So now they're going to go and be a doormat in the SEC. I don't know if it's going to be like that or not. They better, Steve Sarkisian better step up his recruiting and step up their game so they can play with the big boys. But they're going to go to the SEC. They're going to get paid. They're going to get paid anyway, and the Big 12's kind of out of luck. So
one thing on Sarkisian is he has to have an excellent year at Texas this year before they go to the SEC. And I think, what is it, 2 more years, right? Big 12 next year too, right? When do they enter?
I think so.
He better start off really good if he likes his job, right?
Right.
There's no reason Texas should be in the situation they're in. That coach they just had was terrible, all right?
He came from Ohio State.
Yeah, he came from Ohio State, but, he burned a lot of bridges.
Right.
Remember all the cameras on him at Houston? He thought he was big time getting on the private jet and leaving his players in Houston. And he's supposedly the guy who talked about Earl Bruce's nephew and the whole incident with that. So this is a bad guy. So Texas has made some bad calls, right? They hired Strong. I think Strong's a good recruiter and a good coach, but he went to Texas, and that's not his area. His area is Florida. And that's why he's and that's why he's with Urban Meyer right now in Florida. I don't know if you knew he was one of his assistants.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah. Yep. So he's there. So I just think Texas has made. I don't even think Sarkisian's the right call. He's a West Coast guy, right? From what I understand, he spent 1 year in Alabama.
He's still trying to rehab his image from when he was at USC. Had that job. He had to go and check into alcohol clinic because he was drunk at practice all the time. Yeah. So the fact he even has a big time Division I coach is, the coaching job is saying something. That they believe in him and how far he's come. Because I thought he was a great coach. He did well at Washington. He was doing well at USC, and he was drunk all the time.
You hit the nail.
I'm not trying to be funny about it, but
you hit the nail on the head. Sarkisian is a great coach, but is he going to be able to recruit the players to compete in the SEC? College is all about recruiting, man. Yeah. It really is. So
I get those Texas kids to believe that Texas is the only school in Texas. So right now, Baylor's finally falling off. Texas Tech is not what they once were. It's Texas and Texas A&M. Oh yeah, there's TCU, but TCU is in the Big 12.
TCU's done. TCU's done. Those glory days are over. Take the statue down to that coach at the stadium. It's over. So the one thing to bring up about Texas too is Texas schools aren't even keeping their best players. The top recruit in the nation this year is enrolling at Ohio State here in the spring. That Ewers, I think that's how you say his name, right? Ewers, that quarterback, top recruit in the nation. It's going to Ohio State. Right. So, Texas, how does Texas let a guy like that go? How does a guy like that go to Ohio State? Right. That they got big problems there. I think it's solvable. I mean, it's one of the top programs of all time. Texas is a top job.
I mean, it started going downhill when Matt Brown was there. I don't know if it's just entitlement or whatever. Like, I don't know, like how to really word it or whatever it is. And they just haven't been able to bounce back from it at all. And other coaches around them took advantage of it. And you can't beat wins. If other teams are winning and Texas isn't, kids aren't going to go there because it loses the mystique.
You gotta have players, dude. The last time Texas won the title was what, 2006, and who'd they have? Vince Young, one of the greatest games I ever seen. Right. Yep. You got to have those players. They ain't got those players. Spiller's a good running back, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's what my college coach used to always say. He's like, so boys, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes.
That's
That's all
right.
it is. And
Yeah. And
that's
you know what?
so
I'm going
true.
to talk more about this on my Get Real segment, but real quick on Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma gets slaughtered every playoff. They put them in every playoff because they win the Big 12. They get in there and then they get whooped. The one exception that Oklahoma actually could play with everybody else was the year Baker Mayfield was there, his last year, when they beat Ohio State and were up by 30 points or something on Georgia and let that game slip away. That is the only Oklahoma team of recent memory that really was any good. They could really challenge the top three schools like Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama, which are in a league of their own. But real quick, it's all about money. SEC is getting two of the big programs from the Big 12.
Yep.
We'll talk more about that, Coach. Let's go into the second segment that really ties into this.
Yeah, it's going to tie into everything. So we're going to be talking about how the Big 10, ACC, and Pac-12 are going to be merging together into forming a super conference, basically. So I mean, this is all about money. It's all it is. It's all about money at this point in time. And like I said, the Big 12's hurting because they lost their two bell cows, and they didn't have any kind of revenue sharing agreement. I don't believe. Like Texas had the Longhorn Network. They're completely separate from the rest of the Big 12 as far as that. So now that Texas is leaving, like what's the Big 12 going to even do? How are they going to survive? Can they survive? And are they going to?
Well, no, I think that's not even a point worth arguing. They can't survive. They've lost Oklahoma. They've lost their big programs, right? They've already lost Nebraska and Colorado a couple of years ago. Right. It's been a while now, but you know what I mean. Yep. They lost. Now they're losing Oklahoma. They're losing Texas. They lost Texas A&M. It's over, dude. It's done. Like that. You got Texas Tech, West Virginia. TCU was Mountain West Conference not too long ago.
Kansas,
State, which is a basketball school, and
Iowa State,
who is ranked really high this year with an all D3 coaching staff, all Mount Union coaching staff right there. Actually, there's a guy from OU, I think, on there too. Yeah. But Iowa State has really turned it around. That coach has got to see the writing on the wall. The NFL wants him. If I'm him, I'm out of there before the Big 12 explodes. But
can Michigan get him? That's what I'm talking about later.
He would be a guy I think I would take a chance on. Although Iowa State, he can compete in the Big 12. He would have to be able to recruit a even better player. Now, supposedly, he's got some of the top players in the country right now, so maybe he can recruit there. If you can recruit at Iowa State, you should be able to recruit anywhere. So he is a guy Michigan should look at. If they don't want to go to Hugh Freeze, although I'd love to see Hugh Freeze or Lane Kiffin, Michigan. Ain't going to happen.
I mean, yeah, that's not going to happen.
They already tried one renegade coach, and that didn't work out too good. So, old Rich Rod. I love Rich Rod.
I know you love Rich Rod. But we're not going to try to relive those days.
Sure. So, really, it's all about money. But, you got the ACC. I don't even know how this would work, right? Because you only play, 10 conference games, right? I think if they get rid of all these other schools, they'll end up playing all conference games, right? Maybe, except maybe an SEC switch off. So you're going to have 12 games, right? Maybe. You're going to have a conference of 40 teams? I mean,
I don't know how it works out.
I don't know how it works out. I mean, it's actually more. I mean, but can you imagine now you're going to have Clemson in there with the Big 10? You would have
probably have someone to play against because right
now
you're
going to have Oregon in the Big 10.
You have Clemson in the ACC, and there's no one else that can touch them. It's Clemson and nobody in the ACC.
No, and you know what? Like Mac Brown was a good hire by North Carolina. They got one of the top quarterbacks in the nation, but they're not going to compete with Clemson. I hope they beat them, but they're not going to. So yeah, the ACC is dead from a football perspective. It's all Clemson. They don't even play. Now, this year, Clemson plays Georgia first week of the year. If Clemson loses that game, they should be automatically eliminated from the playoff. I don't care if they beat Syracuse by 55 points. They should automatically be eliminated from the playoffs. I don't care what they do. I don't care if they win the ACC championship against maybe Boston College. No. They're done. Their season should be over at the end of the year. The only reason I give Clemson a pass and I don't give Oklahoma a pass is because Clemson's proved it in the playoffs. They've won it all, right? They've beat Ohio State in the Final Four. They've played Alabama to the wire. They've played epic games against Alabama. That's why Clemson has clout with me. Oklahoma has none.
Yeah,
None.
I agree 100%. Oklahoma, they've gone to the playoffs, they got smacked every single time, every single year. And obviously, Clemson's won a couple of national championships, so that's going to give them a little more leeway, even though their conference is struggling overall. I mean, it's just what it is. And them going against the Big Ten, I know like the Big Ten, besides Ohio State, I mean, I guess Wisconsin's kind of been there a little bit, but Penn State's dropped off and everything. I'm kind of interested if they can bounce back overall.
Well, some people think they are. And what I just tell you before we started talking, Sports Illustrated's top 25 classes of 2022, they have Penn State ranked number 1. Yeah. Franklin's a little bit of a renegade. He comes from the SEC. He was at Vanderbilt. They brought him in for a reason. They had a terrible year last year, and I'm going to say this right now. I don't have any proof, obviously. I think Penn State tanked, and their recruiting was down because he thought he was going to get that USC job. USC didn't fire that coach. He was like, oh, crap. Now I'm stuck at Penn State in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, which is a miserable place, I can tell you, from experience.
That's where he's from.
From an experience, every coach is from Pennsylvania. Isn't like 10 of the coaches in the NFL from Pennsylvania? You know what else is crazy? I'm watching, the Angels and Indians last night and found out Joe Madden's from Hazleton, Pennsylvania, which is an hour down the road from me. But I digress. Penn State, I think he is a good coach, right? I think they're the only team that could come back and challenge Ohio State. I think they're the only team that has access to a fantastic state for talent. They have the closest. They're right next to New Jersey. And I don't know why they haven't been able to do better in New Jersey. Wisconsin gets all the best players from New Jersey. Don't tell me how. That just seems to be how it works. They have an in there. They got alumni working for them. They got something going on, but they get New Jersey players, right?
They do. Yep.
So, but Penn State, I think, is the team that could. I don't think it's anytime soon, but I think they could challenge Ohio State in the near future. I mean, look how many NFL players Penn State's produced here, defensive linemen and stuff here the last couple of years. There's talent on that team. There's
definitely talent. I mean, it'll be interesting to see like kind of what happens overall with them as far as that. I'm just kind of interested as far as like the overall impact of the conference merging together. Like, what's that going to do for like everybody else in the country? The SEC will be fine. That's not a big deal as far as that, right?
I just want to say, one more thing about Penn State real quick, because I live in eastern Pennsylvania by Philly and stuff like that. I just want to let all the people know that listen to this. No, I don't think Penn State's any good. Just in case you misunderstood me for a second. Let's keep it real here. It's still Ohio State. I just have to start some conversation. But no, Penn State can do something. You know what I mean? So we'll go with that.
I got you. But like going back to like Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12, they're all merging together. SEC is going to be fine. What about all those other conferences? What about the American Conference or the Mountain West Conference or the Big 12? Like, what are those teams going to do? It's a money game. So how are they going to survive? What are they going to do about that?
The Big 12 teams, I think, will find a way to slip into the SEC or Big 10. Some of them anyway. Yeah. Like Texas Tech, I think is gonna find its way in the SEC, right? I think there's academic standards to be in the Pac-12 and Big 10. You know what I mean? And ACC.
Right.
You got to be. My question is, what's Notre Dame going to do? Right? What are they going to do? They can't stay independent because what's going to happen, and we talked about this a little bit, no one knows what's going to happen. How's this going to play out? Well, just to go over it real quickly, like we talked about before, right? You're going to have two super conferences. You're going to have all these teams only playing each other now, right?
Right.
All the money's going to be there. So you have these other Division I schools like the MAC and the Mountain West, and these smaller schools that depend on the money of playing the big schools, right? Like Akron, my Akron Zips are going to Ohio State, take that butt kicking this year. Now that 50, 60 point slaughtering is going to pay for their entire athletic department for the entire year, right?
Yep.
So let's just break it down real quick. Those schools depend on that money to stay Division I.
Yep.
They need that money to stay Division I. Division III schools and two schools, even though two does give scholarships, ultimately they carry sports because it's good for their business, right?
Right. Yep.
The sport doesn't necessarily make them money on selling gear and tickets and stuff. I mean, it does a little, but you know what I mean? It doesn't pay for fancy bus rides and the meals and the, and the uniforms and all that stuff. But it's business because it gets people to go to the school.
Yep.
Like we talked about Division III, a big portion of the students play some kind of sport, right?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Like Ohio Wesleyan, where I went, they added wrestling and they added put the band back in the stadium that had been there for 30 years and done stuff because it's good for business, right?
Right. Yep.
And we cater to they cater to a wealthy, a lot of these small schools cater to a wealthy class. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can afford to pay $60K a year.
Yeah.
But those schools are different. So now you're going to find out what schools like the MAC going to do, right? If they're not getting that money, there's really only one option because they can't afford to give free rides anymore. They can't afford to travel all over the country in planes or anything anymore.
Right.
They're either going to have to get rid of the sports or basically go on the D3, D2 model, right? I don't know how they could survive in a current D1 format without the money from Power 5 schools.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. Like, and how many scholarships do they normally have? Like, say, just on a football team, what, 70?
I forget what it is. I don't think it's that many. Isn't it 50? I'm not really sure.
It might be 50. I was thinking like it was mid 50s, or I don't know why I thought 70. But either way, I mean, they usually have like 100+ man rosters, right? So that they figure a way to divvy those scholarships up and get them out to everybody, whether it's partial or full or whatever. It's not 4-year scholarships, sure, 1-year renewable scholarships out there, but yeah, they wouldn't be able to do that because there's no guarantee that the program is going to be funded. There's no way that they can go about that. At least from what we've discussed earlier, I don't see a way that they can go about it.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, I think they'd have to almost go to like a Division II, Division III model. Now, the thing about schools like the MAC is they're all in Ohio, right? In Michigan. They're all in Ohio and Michigan and Buffalo. They're almost set up like the conferences we played in. We're really regional. And you took maybe 1 or 2 far road trips, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like my school will go for an opening game in Texas or Illinois or something like that. And then you pretty much play your conference, right? That's kind of how your school was. So like, what do these schools like Mountain West, what do the military academies do? They got the money, right? They have the money because everybody goes there for free anyway. But who do they play? Who do they play?
Yeah, I don't know.
Everything's going to change. Like, I don't know I don't know who Air Force, Navy, and West Point would play because they're still all, they're all scholarship, right? And obviously football's not number one for these people, but for most of them, you would think, but you know what I mean, right? They're still definitely D1 athletes on scholarship. So I don't know what they would do. What does Cincinnati do? Top program in the country.
That's what I was wondering. I was talking to someone I'm like, they need to have already tried to break into the ACC or something. They weren't going to get into Big Ten. Big Ten wasn't going to let them in or whatever.
Ohio State don't want that though. Ohio State wants to own the state of Ohio. They will do anything in their power to keep Cincinnati out of a power conference. You better believe that. I mean, they would never say that, but
I mean, the Americans is not going to cut it for UC. Maybe it will for basketball, but for football, they got to get in. ACC is the only way they can get in. And I don't know if they can. I mean, if Louisville got in, but Louisville's obviously by themselves in the state of Kentucky besides UK. So I mean, it made sense for them to get in that into.
See, you bring up a school. You bring up a school like like you brought up Kansas in basketball. Kansas basketball is historic, big money, right? Big Ten and SEC should want that school, right? Yep. They're going to be a pushover in football. I'd love to play them opening week, and then you get their basketball programs money, right? Right. So there's going to be homes for some of these Big 12 schools. Iowa State's going to end up in the Big 10 because Iowa wants them in there. That's a natural rivalry. They've been trying to make it with Nebraska. I get it, but now Nebraska's got Colorado again. So actually, some of these rivalries that people are so afraid of and miss will actually start to come back together as long as you're in one of the 2 super conferences, which I think one day is all going to be one league, and it's going to be like the NFL. And players are going to make all this money, and they're going to stay 4 years because they're going to make more. You're going to make more money as a quarterback at Texas than you are at the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right, which that takes us into kind of our next topic. It's not really the next topic. We're going to make the next topic. Players being able to earn money off their likeness. As far as that now, I mean, that's something that's real, and it got signed, and NCAA allowed it, and because it was going to happen because every state was doing it regardless. So,
I think this making money is going to bring back some of the traditional powers that have crazy money. I think of Notre Dame, right? And the alumni and the money that program has, right? that, you know, I mean, obviously there's rules and you can't be on the alumni board, but whatever. People's going to get paid. What Nick Saban said Alabama's quarterback was a millionaire, 10 minutes after the rule passed at midnight, right? So
Right.
I think traditional powers, super rich schools, like I think this benefits schools like Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Like these are big money
A lot of
schools.
money in
This
those
ain't the SEC. Now, I
Right.
would love to look up some numbers and facts and stats and stuff like that I don't have on me, and no one probably does because a lot of them, some of them are private institutions. The public ones can't, you know what I mean? They hide money and all that stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, the big power schools with the rich alumni should be back on top. And that means Notre Dame, in my opinion.
Right.
Even though I hate
Right.
to say it, they should be able to pay for anybody they want.
They should. And, you know, that's people don't want it to be that way, but I mean, it's a business. It's officially a business.
You want to know?
Paid.
I just thought of this. You know what it's going to be like? Not to interrupt you. Sorry about that. But it's going to be like Major League Baseball. The haves and have-nots. No salary cap, no nothing. It's going to be like baseball.
Yeah, like I said last week, 14 individual baseball players have a larger salary than the Pittsburgh Pirates' whole payroll in the Major League. So, yeah, no, it's probably true. It's probably true. So, I don't know.
This is all speculation, but this is stuff we think you can see it heading in this direction. And now it's heading there rapidly. So all this stuff we're talking about, I won't be surprised if it happens. It's real legitimate possibilities in my mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I think I can definitely see it. It's definitely direction it's going. And like I say, it will be a haves and have not type game. It's because the haves will have the money, and that's how it's going to be. And
if you're left out of these power conferences, I don't know what you're going to do.
Well, and players, you know, a lot of times they go to these schools, like someone goes just to play, but others go because they have aspirations of getting to the league. And getting the league, you have to be seen. To be seen, you have to be in one of these power conferences on these big teams to be able to get in that spotlight, to be able to go and make the appropriate appearance you make, get as high a draft, you know, be drafted as high as possible as far as doing that. So yeah, I mean, these kids have goals, and the schools that have money they're gonna be king, I'm sure.
So I think in the near future, if you're the quarterback of Ohio State, you're the quarterback at Texas, you're quarterback Alabama, you're quarterback at Notre Dame, hell, you're gonna make more money in 4 years there than you're gonna make your whole NFL career. Maybe you are that good and you're the top pick and you get that. But remember how they put the rookie money. Bradford got the last big rookie contract, 70-something million, you know what I mean, years ago
Right.
now. And the following year with the new rules, Cam Newton got like 30 the following year, right? And Cam Newton deserves 70 million way more than Bradford did, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
think about it now. So the rookie contracts are capped in the NFL. This is going to ricochet to the NFL. What does the NFL do now? If these guys can make more money in college, we're saying speculative, but I mean, we know it can go that direction really quickly.
Right.
They stay 4 years now, right? Which I think that's good for college football.
League minimum in the NFL, let's say, what was it, 250,000 a year?
Something like that. Yeah.
It's somewhere around there. So, you know, especially top tier players, you know, from their likeness, from endorsements, can definitely make more than that for sure.
Yeah, we're talking top tier players. Yeah.
We're talking top tier players as far as doing that. But still, even those middle tier players can get endorsements out there.
And then,
if you're an Ohio State or Texas player or whatever.
Here's another interesting thing. If you're a top player and you are just make a ton of money, maybe in 4 years on, what is it? Texas A&M's offering 10,000 per interview or something like that. That one website, something crazy.
Right.
Say you make millions of dollars in your 4 years because you're a top player. You don't even have to play NFL football, man. You can go sell cars, chill on the beach. You're set if you're smart with your money. I'm telling you, this whole landscape's going to change. You could be the number one person, but if you made millions in college and you don't want to put your body through that anymore, now a lot of us competitors, people like me and you, would still go play because that's just how we are. And that's how a lot of people get to those points.
Right.
We're just saying you wouldn't even have to go to the NFL.
But think about top guys like Vince Young or Johnny Manziel when he was in
college.
Think about how much money that they brought their schools in.
Yeah, quarterback at Texas.
Schools. Yeah. And everything was taken care of for them.
I mean, I'd like to know how much Vince Young was getting paid back then anyway, but you know what I mean?
True. I'm sure it's a nice little chunk of change is under the table.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. But now, it's crazy. So we'll see what happens.
So
And then there's no, because this all happened so suddenly, how do you govern it? Like, how do you know that the alumni aren't ciphering money through, let's just say, Terrell's Pizza to give
right.
them, it's going to be,
Yeah.
the
No,
NCAA, if I'm the NCAA, I don't even try to fight it. I don't even try to fight it because you're getting
just let it
kicked
go.
out anyway. They're going to
Right.
form their own thing and the NCAA is going to be done. So there's no reason for them to fight it. I'd just try to hang on to my job and draw a salary as long as I could at this point, right?
Well, yeah, you see the super conferences are already starting. Now, I was wondering how long it was going to take for it to happen. Pretty much the conferences can run themselves and get their own TV deals. They can make their own money. They don't need the NCAA. The NCAA is
No,
just there as a governing body, but
a
they don't need
governing
it.
body just siphoning money away.
Right. So
It's almost like a middleman now. You don't need it no more. Let the athletic directors can hire business consultants and agents to negotiate deals for them now. They don't need that fat conglomerate bureaucratic NCAA any longer. All they need is a couple business agents to go cut some TV deals, man. That's it.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. All right, better keep it moving because unfortunately on this podcast I'm running out of time. So
yeah, we are. We're pushing it, so we might have to cut something out. But let's just keep going right now. What do you got?
Let's go ahead and let's go. I guess you want to talk about top 25 and go to rapid fire.
All right. Yep.
Top 25 or rapid fire.
All right. I'm going to give you the rapid fire. All right.
All right. Rapid fire.
Here we go. So this is the MLB edition. I know we did a lot of college. We're going to do some more college. We got some more college stuff for you on our next one. We didn't get to because these are good subjects and we think they're important for the future of college football. We love so much. So with the baseball, we're going to go baseball because me and you balled a little bit back in the day. All right. Sir. Who was your favorite player growing up?
Hands down, Ken Griffey Jr.
I knew you were going to say that. Yep.
No doubt. I mean, everything about his game, wearing his hat backwards, which I got yelled at for. I remember Coach yelled at me in summer league, and we had words about it because he said I was disrespecting.
He started that whole thing.
I know. He said I was disrespecting the game. I'm like, I'm not wearing it backwards out on the field. I'm in the dugout, hanging out. When I go on the field, I turn it forwards and I play. But he's like, well, you're disrespecting the game. You just need to respect the game and wear your hat forward and all. So I'm like, nah, I don't know who you are, man. You need to keep moving. Like, we're just out here having fun, which is exactly what Junior's doing. He's out there having fun, and there's nothing wrong with it. Plus, he has the sweetest swing still in the history of the sport. His swing is picture perfect, in my opinion. So, I don't know. What about you? Who are you going after?
Well, I remember when I was a kid, it was all about the Oakland A's, man. Bash Brothers, I'm going McGuire and Canseco all the way. Dave Stewart, the whole team. I mean, if I had to pick one, probably McGuire, just because his career lasted longer and, he's still rocking with the Cardinals. But Jose Canseco was a special athlete, man. People, because of the other stuff after baseball, don't give him the credit. In Cleveland, he's famous for the ball bouncing off his head in the outfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was a awesome player to watch, man. I mean, so definitely for me, Canseco, McGuire, the Bash Brothers, those A's teams. Every youth team when I was young was named the A's, right?
Yeah.
So
right. I will say, like I said, Ken Griffey Jr. was my guy, but other players I did enjoy watching. Frank Thomas, love watching him. I like Robin Ventura. I watched the White Sox back in the day too, so I like those two guys. And I liked Gary Sheffield because his bat speed was absolutely crazy.
And I'm going to shout out my team, Cleveland Indians, too, because in the 90s, they were must-watch baseball. Albert Bell, Carlos Baerga, Omar Vizquel, who's gotten this
Albert Bell flexing on people.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a great team. Kenny Lofton, everybody loved Kenny Lofton. Eddie Murray spent some time there at the end of his career. David Justice, when he was balling out. And that lineup, Sandy Alomar Jr., they were all batting 300 from first to ninth. I can't believe they didn't win a World Series, but that's another subject.
That's another story. That's Cleveland sports. That's Cleveland sports.
That's the story of Cleveland sports, right?
Except for LeBron. So, all right, what we got now?
We're not talking LeBron. I'm not, don't even get me started. All right, player you like to watch now. Who do you like to watch now in the MLB?
Now? I mean, when he plays, Mike Trout. Mike Trout's special, dude. But Mike Trout is actually built like a running back. If you ever see him, if you saw him in person, that dude's big dude, thick dude, fast. He can do it all on the field. Mike Trout, he's definitely one of my favorite players to watch. out there in the league.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
Oh, and I also like watching the young players like Fernando Tatis Jr.
I was just gonna say him was
Yeah, he's gonna be special. Vlad Guerrero Jr. He swings like his dad. I don't know if he wears batting gloves or not, but he shouldn't because they swing at everything. Vlad Guerrero Sr. did not see ball he didn't like, and he always made contact. He always was swinging for the fences. I don't know how he did that. I thought he was up there standing with the tree in his hands, and he just swing as hard as he could, no gloves on, and just trying to go yard. That's all he was trying to do. So
yeah,
I do think his son's gonna be solid for sure. And I think they're part of the exciting kind of youth movement as far as that. I like the bat flips. I like the personalities being shown. I know baseball, purist originalists don't like kind of a lot of the showboating a little bit, but I'm on board with it. I think it's great for the game. It's great to get the younger crowd into it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is, man. And I mean, currently right now, who do I like to watch? Who's must-watch television? Oh, and Tommy of the Angels, right? I mean, he's doing stuff only Babe Ruth's done, pitching and hitting like he does. And then I'm going to go with the hometown guy. I love watching Jose Ramirez. He's been the MVP voting the last couple of years. I think he's been screwed a couple of times. I think he could have easily been American League MVP. Love watching Jose Ramirez. And you know what I like about him? He's probably I don't know how tall he is. He don't even look like an athlete, all, right? No, he looks like, short and kind of stubby, right? Like if you walk by him on the street, you never thought he was an American League possible MVP. Like you walk by Judge or Owen Tani or something, you're like, that's a ball player. You walk by Jose Ramirez, man, I'd walk right by him, right? I know what he looks like, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you have no idea he's a baseball player. No,
I love that guy, dude. He plays hard. I love him. So, all right, to the next one.
All right.
Are the Reds making the playoffs this year? I'm not even going to say Indians.
100% Redlegs going to playoffs. They've been hot. They've been hitting all year. They just have to get the relief pitching in place. They get the relief pitching to be consistent. If they do that, they're dangerous. 100%.
I think they're going to get in. I didn't think so a couple weeks ago, but I think they're going to do it now. I mean, I think they got the pieces. I'm with you on the Reds. Indians have like a 0.1% chance. They're done. They're 500. But we'll see how they do next year as the Guardians. All right.
Yeah,
Ohtani. Do you want me? Huh? Go ahead.
Should he win the Cy Young or MVP?
Oh yeah. What do you think? I don't think so because I was looking at some of the stuff. Oh, who was it? I forget right now. I'm taking a look.
It's special what he's doing, but he's not putting up like MVP type numbers. He's not putting up Cy Young numbers. He is hitting home runs. He is a good draw. He is exciting. I think he should be a fan favorite. The fact that he's a pitcher and he's not like just a janky pitcher. He's a good pitcher that can actually hit. He's a top level hitter. I think that's great for the game. I don't understand how more pitchers can't do that when they get to major leagues. It's like usually if you can pitch, growing up, you're the best player on your team. You play shortstop, do everything else. You can hit. It's like these guys don't even try to hit anymore. It's like, man, you guys look embarrassing up there hitting the ball. Like, I don't get that, but I appreciate him being able to do that, being able to do both well. And I think it's awesome.
Oh, I think it's awesome too. And I agree with you. Someone who liked to hit and the Indians wouldn't let him hit. He spent his whole career in the American League with CC Sabathia, right? Yeah. When he was with the Indians and Yankees, he was a guy you'd actually want to hit. They didn't have him hit, but the boy could hit. When he was with Milwaukee there for when the Indians traded him for that Laporta guy who turned out to be a bust, that dude could hit. So he was one of the guys who kind of bucked the trend. You just didn't get to see it because he spent his whole career in the American League. But what Owen Ty's doing, it's amazing. So, MVP's locked up, not going to win the Cy Young. It's probably going to be, I'm looking at some of these Kershaw and stuff, throwing some stuff. Yeah. So let's see here.
Do you want machines to replace calling balls a strike for umpires?
No.
I don't either.
I don't like it.
I like the human element. I like the human aspect. I like the fact that some umpires have tighter strike zones. Some umpires expand their strike zone. It's more unique to the umpire. The players have to adjust to that. I like it. Keep it as is.
I think so too. And I maybe we're old now, because this generation grows up to rely on everything, a lot more stuff than we did electronically, computer wise, right, to do stuff for you, so I'm with you. I like the umpire. I like the game how it is. It would be weird with no umpire back there and a machine calling balls and strikes, but it's a serious conversation, and they think the machines, if they think they're 100%, and obviously there's a lot of money involved. So when an umpire makes a bad call and people are losing money, because a lot of sports is all about the gambling, that we don't talk about it. We all know it's the truth, right? They can no longer say, that the machine, but what if a machine made a wrong call in a big game? What would happen then, right? Is there a review for that? I don't know. That's a subject for another day, but okay, I'm with you, man. No. And then one last thing for you, Miggy hits 500 home runs. What do you think?
Hey, big ups to him. I think in our era, one of the best hitters in our era. Obviously, he's not in the shape he was before, and he's getting old and everything. But he's the first person since Ted Williams winning Triple Crown. So
Miggy's one of the best hitters out there. For a couple of years, he could have been the best hitter. And I'll tell you what, probably one of the best hitters with 2 strikes I've ever seen. Like, that dude was going to make contact, man. Just dangerous. I mean, obviously he's in the Indians division. I've seen him a lot. I lived in Detroit for 2 years, went to a bunch of games when I lived there. Just the guy can play, right? So, congratulations to him. Well-deserved.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, all right, now we move on to our segment, Get Real with Dane. Dane, what you got for us?
Oh, man, you know what? I'm going to take a break from bashing the Cavs for one important thing, because this is the college edition. Paul Feinbaum, why is he called on to talk about college football? What reality is ESPN and some of these networks living in that they call him in to talk about all of college football? There's never been a more biased analyst ever in the history of sporting announcing. No one's more biased to the SEC than him. The dude probably lives in Saban's basement, and Saban probably gets on the phone right now, because you don't use Twitter or anything, and Saban probably calls from his cord phone and with Feinbaum in the basement and go, hey, they're talking good about Ohio State again. You want to get on ESPN real quick and tell them why Ohio State sucks? And he gets on ESPN, gets on Stephen A. You know what? Quit talking to him. Get real. Get somebody who's not biased to talk about college football, right? Quit bringing him on to talk about other teams, right? He hates Ohio State and the Big Ten so much just because they're a bigger conference. They get better ratings, right? More money involved, and he can't handle it. So he has to go on TV, and ESPN gives him that platform to go bash the Big Ten, particularly Ohio State. He was on the other day talking about how Oklahoma is better than Ohio State. Come on, man, get out of here. Oklahoma ain't better than Ohio State. Look at this AP top 25 poll. They got Oklahoma number 2. Why is Oklahoma number 2?
I don't know.
Come on. Why? Get real. So that's 2 things. Paul Feinbaum. Yeah. Paul Feinbaum's got to go. He's got to go. Keep him on the SEC network. Keep him in the South where someone would actually want to listen to his garbage, right? And then Oklahoma number 2 is a travesty. I don't know if they're trying to trick people into betting on them, or what, but tell me one thing Oklahoma's done in the college football playoffs other than get slaughtered every year, except the 1 year Baker had a good first half. And I love Baker, but let's face it, they still got slaughtered by Georgia in the second half. It's Oklahoma. It's Big 12. They're irrelevant. They're terrible. And I'm tired of them getting a team in the college football playoffs. Let's get real. Let's get some real teams in there this year. That's what I got today.
That's good. I like it. Straight to the point. I agree with you. 100%. Both counts as far as that. Now, I've been thinking for the last, or one of the final segments, Mess with Money with Rell. I really don't have anything good from Mess with Money with Rell, but I do want to give a shout out to my son, Caden. He had this year, he had his 2nd annual lemonade stand. So last year he started a lemonade stand for his school. Well, it wasn't really for his school, but he ultimately was going to get school supplies. He's like, hey, mom, dad, will we be able to raise money for kids that are less fortunate that might not be able to afford school supplies or whatever? It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can do something if that's something you want to do. So I want to do like a lemonade stand. So, okay, yeah, we'll help you do that. So we did it last year, we raised like $1,050 or whatever. So did that, wrote a check or gave the money, all the proceeds to his elementary school. And then they used it appropriately, and you know it was a good thing and everything. So we didn't say anything about it this year until we were in Nashville, like 2 weeks ago. And he's like, hey, can I have a lemonade standing in this year? And I want to kind of see if we can raise some money again. So we're like, yeah, sure, why not? So went ahead, helped him, put his lemonade stand together, got information out on Facebook and everything. The community came together. Lots. The fire department came by, police department, not police department, but fire department, ambulance came by. The transportation department came by for Fairfield Township and everything. And overall, for the whole weekend, doing it raised right around $3,200. So this morning we went and delivered the check to the principal of the school, and she's like, we're gonna put this to good use, something that you're gonna be proud of, something you're gonna enjoy, and it's gonna be a good thing. So not really messing with your money too much, but try to do something to help people that were less fortunate. And it's his idea to do it. We just want to try to support him the best way we could to have it happen, and we're happy that it was successful. Our goal was really just to double what we did last year, but we tripled it. So that's even better. And if he wants to do it again next year, we'll do what we can to help him out and be there to support him as much as possible. So proud of that. Like I said, it's not really messing with your money, but it's a pretty cool situation. I thought I'll go ahead and pub it up a little bit for him on this show, because a lot of kids don't think that way, and he was thinking about other people and want to help him out and be there to support him as much as possible. So I thought it was pretty cool of him to want to do that.
Yeah, very proud of that. That's awesome. And stories like that need to get more pub instead of the alternative stories. So that's awesome.
That's what I was glad about. Like, there's so many like stories back and forth, people arguing in the community and everything. There's something where it seemed like, hey, everybody got pine, everybody was supporting it. Superintendent came out and took pictures with him, and people from from the community, all over the community did, and I thought it was really cool that everybody could do that and come together, even times where there is a lot of arguing back and forth and people aren't exactly seeing eye to eye on many things. So that was definitely cool, and proud of him for it. That's one of the times you say you can be a proud parent. It's pretty cool.
That's right. Good for him, man. Nice job.
So other than that, man, hey, we roll a few things quick. I know I need to go pick up these kids from the sitter. Dane, start thinking about your goat yoga. I can't wait to hear about that. It's coming up soon. And
yeah, I'm heading to the beach here, here in a day or two here, go chill in Dewey Beach, Delaware. I know that's a plug, but you're missing out if you've never been there.
Well, I'll try it out sometime. And like I said, man, I had fun. Appreciate it. And we'll do this again next week, 100%.
That's right. Go Bucks. I'll see you.
Later, man.
Later.